Hey everybody, welcome to another episode on the ICCG YouTube channel where we're going to ask a question today about what do I do with proceeds after I sell my business. My name's Dave. This is Grant. I'm up in the Pacific Northwest of my office. Grant is down in Texas in our office in the Allen, Texas area. And we're happy to be with you today. You know, we've sold several businesses throughout the years, probably about a dozen, I think, Grant. And, one of those questions we always have candid talks about is what are we going to do with our proceeds? And I think we also have we also have a personal conversation about how are we going to deal with our proceeds. Grant and I have been business partners a long time, and I think with that comes a sense of accountability to each other, and we both want to steward well what we've been entrusted with. And so, we're getting ready to see one of the greatest transfers of wealth. We've already begun to see it from one generation to the next as the boomers are really starting to retire. That's been all over the news. And so as we do this, and now I'm saying this on a day where the Dow is down another almost 800 points. And so maybe one thing you don't do is put it all in the market. But beside that, there's a lot of questions on, that we get because we don't sell investments. And so a lot of times the business owners will come to us and say, what do I do after I sell? And I've got this money, I had this windfall that I wasn't planning on. And so, we're kind of conservative when it comes to this kind of thing. And we want to make sure that things that are important to people are taken care of. So we don't mind. We love this conversation. But I wanted to ask Grant, who's a CPA amongst us, to kind of walk through this a little bit and give some of the different things we tell people when they ask that question.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult because it's a new situation. And, a lot of times this is the largest transaction that our clients will do. They get millions of dollars in surplus funds that they now need to deploy. And they need to, figure out what they're going to invest their money in, and a lot of times for retirement or for the rest of their life. Right. And so, unfortunately, this is when everybody and their cousin shows up and proclaims expertise on how to invest money, and they have very little interest in assessing risk or assessing goals. They want to sell products. And so the reason why you and I get this question is because they know we don't sell them, but also because they know that you and I are very conservative, and also sometimes because we are charitably minded, and some of our clients are equally as such, and they want to know how to deploy that money for the charities that they really care about. Yeah. And so, first of all, I'd say, Dave, make sure that the professionals that you're dealing with are, interested in what your goals are, not what their goals are, yeah. And that they're assessing your risk profile. And then, one of the things that's kind of quirky about business owners is no matter how successful a business is, you and I call it the household account. The household account gets this, monthly salary or annual salary or whatever it is to cover the normal bills of living. And that kind of stops, when you don't own the company, you no longer get a paycheck. And, as successful as some people have been, our clients have been, the spouse that is in charge of that household account goes, wait a minute, where am I going to get my money from? And we kind of smile and we say, well, from the multi-million-dollar brokerage account that you're going to have, right? But it's a process thing, and people need to kind of just have the vocabulary necessary in order to ask the right questions of those investment advisors, and making sure that they understand the types of investments that maybe are more secure than others, maybe provide a regular guaranteed income, which makes you a little bit more flexible on the rest of the investment. And then we get clients, honestly, Dave, that are not ready to retire and they want to reinvest in businesses. And you and I have been a part of helping people buy businesses, and we've actually bought a bunch of business ourselves. And so structuring it in a way that doesn't throw away your investment is super important. And then protecting it, right? There's this whole area of asset protection where, you don't want to have a car wreck and then you lose 30 years of work that you value that you achieved when you built up a business. And so asset protection
and a good estate planning attorney is very helpful. And if someone hasn't gone through that, we almost always recommend it's time for you to go through that.
Yeah. And I think this is just another area that if you get the right advisors, this is what we call that holistic, advisory service that we talk about. We're getting paid because we're helping you do a transaction, but ultimately the transaction doesn't stop when the money's in the bank. The transaction is also how do you successfully land the plane? Right. And landing the plane in your new phase of life is super important for you. And because of that, it's important to us.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be like those lottery winners who there's a huge majority of, or I don't know, majority, there's a huge percentage of them that go bankrupt very quickly because they just spend it. And so planning is really, really important. And I think one other thing we didn't say that we would say in some of our transactions is oftentimes you have a chance to roll forward some of your proceeds in some types of deal structure where you can then stay invested in the company that you've helped build and hopefully take another bite of the apple later on. That's a whole different video in and of itself, but just one other idea. Hey, thank you everyone for joining us. This is a huge question and there's so many different answers. We'd love to have a one-on-one with you. If we can be of any help with you at all, we would just, we'd be honored to do that. If we can help you with the transaction, give us a shout. We'll tell you like it is. And if we see if we can help you or not. And by all means, subscribe to the YouTube channel and we'll talk to you next time.